What's going on, everyone? Jason here again, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use Tailwind CSS to build out this single price grid component. And it's a challenge from Front End Mentor, so this website has a lot of different front end development challenges that you can do. So we'll be building this grid component out, and we're going to make it responsive for mobile as well as desktop, and we'll be building it out using Tailwind CSS. So Tailwind CSS is a utility first CSS framework to build rapid custom designs, and I've been playing around with it and I think it's pretty useful and I've been enjoying it. So in this video we're going to use this to build out that single price grid component. We're also going to use Next.js to set up our project and also show you how to set up Tailwind with Next. And yeah, so that's the project we'll be building, so let's go ahead and get started. To set up our project, we'll need to use the npx create next app, and we'll call this project price grid. Now that we're in our project directory, then after that Next.js setup, we're going to install the Tailwind CSS package. So if we go into the Tailwind CSS website, you can see we can add it using yarn add Tailwind CSS. We'll go ahead and copy that, paste it in there. Next, to have the Tailwind CSS styles available, you'll need to create a style or a CSS file and add these utilities inside. So this is a Tailwind directive, and you can inject this into your CSS. And so if we go back to our project directory, inside our project directory, we're going to create a folder called styles. So we'll call it styles. And inside there, we'll add a index.css file. And so in this file is where we will add these directives. So let's go ahead and take that, copy it, and save. Okay. Now the next step would be to add a Tailwind config file. So this is optional. This basically allows you to extend the styles that Tailwind CSS provides. So we'll just go ahead and do an npx Tailwind CSS init in our terminal. So we'll go ahead and do that. And so now if we go back to our project directory, you can see that this config file has been created. And now let's go back. And then the next thing we'll do is set up a post css.config.js file. And so for this, we'll have to go in our project directory, and Next.js already has its own post CSS file configuration, but we're going to override it and create our own here. So we'll do post css.config.js, and we're going to set this up with Tailwind. So if we go back in here, and we'll just copy this, and we can just take this, and this is all we would need to do. And we can save that. Okay, so it looks like everything is now good and ready to go to start building our project. Now we'll actually start building out the component. And so I also brought in these two images from Front End Mentor. They give you the design files for the project. So just for our reference, so this will be the desktop version, and this will be the mobile version. And so the first thing we're going to want to do, though, is in Pages, we're going to create two files. The first one will be document.js, and the second one will be _app.js. So these are Next.js custom components. And so this will give us access to the HTML tag, the head tag, and also the body tag. So we'll import that, copy that, paste. Oops, sorry, not in here, but in the documents. And also the custom app component. So this is like the entry point into your Next.js project. And so in here, we'll go into app, paste that in there. And so in here, we're going to import our CSS styles. So we'll do a // and let's see, so it's styles/index.css. Okay, and that's looking good. And let's go into the index.js file in our page. So we're going to remove all of this. And let's just add in hello in here. And let's also restart our server since we added those custom components. So we'll just do yarn dev. Let's go back and let's go into localhost. Okay, so we see hello. Now let's add our first utility class. So let's go into document in the body. We're going to add a class name and we want to change the background to, let's say, light gray color, since that's kind of what they have here. So let's do BG 200, or I believe it's gray 200. And let's just see if we see anything. All right, as you can see, it did change. So let's do a more dramatic change. And there we go. All right. And so if you want to see the different utility classes for Tailwind, they make it really easy on their website. So let's say I'm on the main page. We can search the docs with a slash. And let's say, like, for example, we wanted a background color. So I would search background and we would go to background color. And here they have the different utility classes and the different colors. So the way they have it set up is, let's say you want to have a gray color, but you want to make it darker. So you do background gray, for example, was 200. If we want to make it darker, we'll just increase that amount. And so that's really handy. And so I think 200 would be good for us as a starting point. And so to build out the project, I'm going to start with a mobile layout first, since they really emphasize a mobile first approach to building your layouts. And so we're going to set it up with, let's do responsive, and let's just set it up to right here. That should be fine. So we're going to start out building mobile first, and then from there we'll add styles to make it responsive for desktop. And so let's go ahead and build out the layout then inside our index file. So if we go to our mobile design, you can see there is 3 sections here. So we'll start building the top section first. And so inside here, we're going to create a div, which will be the outer div for the whole container of that component. And we'll add a class name. And for the first one we'll do an MX, or actually before that, let's go up here. And this div, we want to remove that. And let's add some padding here. So we'll do, for a padding top and bottom, we can do PY, since Y is considered to be on the Y axis. So we'll do 10. And then on horizontally, we'll do PX, X for the X axis, and we'll give it 4. Okay. And then let's just add some text in there so we can see what's happening. All right, so as you can see, we have some padding now around the whole component. Okay. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to just add all the markup before I add any utility classes. And so we have our outer div here. So this will be the container div. And then we're going to have 3 sections. Let's move this over here. So we'll have 3 sections here. So let's create that markup. So we have section, we have 3. And for the top one, we have another 3 sections. So we can make this an H2. This could be or this can be an H1. This will be an H2 and a P tag. So let's go back and let's add an H1, and this will say join our community, and then we'll add an H2. So this was 30-day hassle-free money-back guarantee, 30-day hassle-free money back guarantee. And let's see, so that is looking good. Okay, and the next section there would be this gain access to our full library of tutorials. So let's just do this real quick. I went ahead and just skipped all that typing for you guys so you don't have to see me type. And so let's save that. Let's go back. All right. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. All right, so there is our markup there. And let's make this mobile. There we go. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start styling this top section first. So as you can see, let's see here. So inside here in our section, we're going to add a class name, and we're going to add some padding all around. So there's some padding all around there. There we go. And then let's see, also for this outermost div, you also want to add some styles here. So let's see, let's give this a background of white. Okay, there we go. Now we can see the background there. And now let's go ahead and add some rounded corners. So for that, we can do rounded-lg. There's a rounded corners there. And then next we can, I believe that should be good for now. Let's go ahead and style up the top section then. And so inside the h1, we're going to add a class name. And this text, we want to make it a little bit bigger. So let's give this text-xl. And we also want to give it a color. So for that, we can do text. We have teal. That's a color that they have available for us. Let's do 600. And let's see how that looks. All right, that's looking good. Let's make it a little bit bolder now. So we can do font semi-bold. There we go. That looks good. So if we go back in here, we can do font weight. And as you can see, they have the different font weights here. So I chose semi-bold. And let's see. So let's go back. Okay, so the next thing we'll go ahead and do is add this 30-day hassle-free styling. So we just want to make this a kind of a greenish, yellowish color. And so I don't believe off the bat or by default Tailwind CSS has a color for that. So we're going to need to extend the color for that. So inside our config.js, we're going to go into the extend object here, and we're going to do colors, and then we're going to create an object, and we're going to extend the yellow, and we're going to give it a color for, let's see, it's the 600 mark, and for this color we're going to give it a color of hash C0DF34, and that color should be the color that would match that design. And also just to note, if you're going to extend this property, you would need to add all the other class numbers as well. So you need to have one for 500, 400, 300, etc. But for our case, since we're just going to use that one color, we won't worry about it. And so let's save that, and let's add a text. Oops, not here, but inside here. We'll add a class name, and we'll do text yellow -600. Save that, and there is a color, so it looks a little bit more like the design. And so now we also want to make it a little bit bolder as well. So let's go ahead and add another class, and let's do font semi-bold as well. And also we want to add some padding at the top, so we'll do pt-4, and I think that should be good. There we go. Alright, and now for this bottom text, we want to add some padding on the top as well. Let's see, let's do class name, pt dash, let's see, this one we'll do 2. There we go. And let's also make the text a little bit grayer, and let's do text gray 500. Alright, that looks about right. And let's see, I think that should be good. Yep, that should be fine. Cool, so the top section looks like it's finished. And now we can go ahead and start on the next section. Next, we'll build out this other section here. But before that, I want to edit our markup here. So instead of having 2 sections, we're going to have 1 section. And then in here, we're going to have 2 divs. And I'm doing this because if you look at the desktop design, we have these 2 areas here side by side. And so I want to make this 1 section and then have these 2 individual divs on their own. That way it makes it easier for us to create a desktop view when we're going from mobile to desktop. And so that's the change we're doing there. And let's go in here. And so inside this div, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a class name. And in that class name, we're going to give it a background of teal. Do 500. We're going to give it some padding all around. And I believe that should be good, so let's go ahead and go back. Alright, so that looks good. Now we just need to add the other markup in there. And so in here, we're going to add an H2. In this H2, we'll have money subscription. For this H2, we'll add the class name. Let's style this up. So let's see, so for the money subscription, it's just going to be, let's see, a little bit bigger. And so let's add a text LG. And let's also make it a little bit bolder. Font semi-bold. Go back. There we go. And let's see, let's also, up here in this section, we're going to add a class name, and we're just going to give this a, let's see, text of white, since all of this text in here is going to be white. So let's just add that text white in this outermost section for that. There we go. And now we'll add the $29 per month. And so in here, we're going to add, let's see, so I'm actually going to add a div here, and in this div I'm going to add the $29 and per month, and then I'm going to use Flexbox to make these go side by side. And so we'll do the P tag in there, and then this will be $29, and then this will be per month. Give this a class name. Give this a class name of flex. And if we go back, they're side by side there. And now in the $29, we're going to customize this. So this one will have the text a little bit larger than normal. So this will be text 2XL. Font will be semi-bold. There we go. And then the per month, so this one, it's going to be the text a little smaller and not so bold. So we'll do, and then it's also going to be a little bit more to the right. And so we're going to add a class name of, we're going to add a margin left. So for that we can do ML-2. And then the font weight, we'll add the font hairline, and I believe that should be good. There we go, it's a little bit more to the right, and I actually want this to be more in line with the $29, so up here what we can do then is do a items center, so that'll allow you to center your items so they can be aligned with each other. There we go. All right, cool. And let's see, so then now we'll just add the full access for less than 1 day. So we can just go here under that div, do full access for less than 1 day. Well, not 1 day, but $1 a day. Okay, so then for this, that's just about right. We just need to add a few more tweaks. And so we want to make it, let's see, the font weight a little bit smaller. And so we'll do font-light. And let's make the text a little bit smaller as well. Text like SM, I mean. Go back. That looks good. And then the next thing we can do is then now we just need to add the button. Or actually, we want to add some spacing in between here as well. So let's go look at this. So there's some spacing between here, and also some spacing here. So let's add a padding top here of maybe, let's do 2. So let's go to money subscription. Or actually not money subscription, but the 29, or actually in here, in this div. So in this div, we're going to do pt-2. There we go. And let's see, so that should be good. And for full access, I believe that should be fine. We don't need to add any more padding there. So let's see, so that looks about right. Now the next thing we'll add will be a button, so we'll add this sign up button here. And so if we go back to the Tailwind CSS website, they have example buttons that we can use. So we'll be using this one right here. And let me just copy it. There we go. Okay, so for the color, we're going to change this to the yellow color that we have. And I believe it's yellow 600. And let's take off this hover here. And let's save that. Have a look. Okay, that looks about right. And so let's also make sure this is a full width. So if we go back, do a W full. And let's also give this a padding, or let's see, a margin top. So we'll do MT and we'll give it MT6. That looks good. And also we're going to give this some shadow. So we want to do a shadow MD. Kind of give that kind of hover effect there. And I believe that's good. So let's just change the text here to sign up. All right, and that looks good. Let's see. So yep, that looks about right. All right, awesome. And so the next section here will be the bottom one. And so inside here, we're going to add some markup. So we'll add an H2. H2 will be Y us. And then a P tag, tutorials. All right, so I went ahead and skipped the typing of the markup here. So we have that. And let's go ahead and see. All right, so we can't really see it right now, but yeah, but we have our markup there. So now we'll just need to add the styling. So for the container div here, we're going to add a class name of bg-teal. And this one will be 400. And then we'll do some padding around. So padding 8. And that should be good. All right, that's looking good so far. And now in the YS, we'll add a class name here as well. And we'll change this to font semi-bold. make the text a little bit larger. And let's see. And I'm gonna actually put all these p tags inside this div container, since we want to give them all a similar style. And for this, copy that. And for this, we're going to give this a styling of text -xs and a font weight of light, and then some padding top at the padding top of 2. Let's have a look. All right, I think that's looking good so far. Let's see. So yeah, that looks pretty similar, I'd say. All right, so that looks like it wraps it up for our mobile version. And so now I'm going to make it responsive. So we're gonna make this now look more like the desktop version, which is like that. So we'll just need to add a few more utility classes to get that that design, that layout. So at the top here, we're going to, in the container div, up here, we're going to add a MD : and then we're going to do W and then -2 force. So when we get to medium screens, we want the width to be of this size, this percentage size. So if we save that, all right, so that way it's not so wide when we get to a desktop screen. And now what we want to do is we actually want to change this layout here, so these are side by side. And so I also want to actually add an mx-auto just to center this container here. And so down here, we're going to go to the section where it contains both those, the money and the YS sections. And so in here, we're going to add a MD. We're going to add a flex-row. Actually, we're going to add a MD flex. So we want to make sure it's flexed on medium screens and up, and give it a flex row. There we go. And now we're going to change the width of this one here to MD -1/2. And then we'll go down to this one right here. Give this MD W-1/2. And now it takes up the full size. That's looking good. So now we have this desktop version, which looks pretty similar to the one that we have here. So this is how it looks. And yep, so pretty similar. And yep, so the cool thing is that we built all of this using mainly Tailwind CSS utility classes, so we didn't have to add any CSS or custom CSS on our end. We just use what they had out of the box mostly. But yeah, so let's just look at the mobile version here real quick. So if we go to desktop and then we go to mobile, it's responsive there as well. Okay, very cool. So that is a project, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good day.